This is Golf with Jay Delsing. A two-time All-American at UCLA. Competed in nearly 700 PGA Tour events, 7 professional wins to his credit. Over 30 years of professional golf experience. A member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
Hey, welcome in. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm your host, Jay. We are coming to you from the Car Shield Studios. I got a bunch of old stuff from the basement that had dust and spider webs on it. We brought it up and put it into the Car Shield studio. And I'm here today with my buddy, Adam Rosen. He is from Birdies, Bogeys, and Bourbon. And wait till we inform you about this newsletter. Adam, thanks for joining me.
Jay, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. So I've been a fan of this newsletter since you guys have come out. I have been reading it, and being able to connect it to you was a thrill. But let's just tell people that have no idea what we're talking about. Just let's give them the 411 on what you're doing.
Yeah, well, my background is I'm just an entrepreneur. So the Birdies, Bogeys, and Bourbon is kind of like one of my passion projects here. I've built a few businesses in my past. I've sold a few companies, and with one of my companies, I build different newsletters. And for me, I love golf. I'm very much an amateur golfer, and I felt like there was no solid, reliable place to get golf content that I would actually want to consume. So I helped launch this newsletter about 8 or 9 months ago, and haven't looked back since.
Well, gosh, the success that you're having is remarkable for a business that's only been there for less than a year. I know you have well over 100,000 subscribers. I have been reading it and just fascinated. So let's talk a little bit about your format, because I think when people think newsletter, they're like, dude, you got to be kidding me. You're doing another loop. This is not your dad or your grandfather's newsletter.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been trying to go for, is like the whole concept was Birdies. This is for the pros. This is for people like Jay, real golfers out there. Then there's the Bogeys section, which is more about like fun weekend golf. That's very much the lane that I play in, where I'm happy with a bogey on most holes. And then there's the Bourbon section, because I feel like the 19th hole is really where so much of the magic happens. That's like, for me, I really got connected to the game through playing with my father. And we love being out there on the course together and sharing laughs and cheering each other on. But so much of it comes on the 19th hole when we're having a drink and just laughing and talking about life and talking about the round. So then we like to have some fun in that Bourbon section too, and try to have a lot of different giveaways and gear drops. And hey, we have all these, here's some discounts on clubs if you want to check it out. So also to provide some gear at some good discounts for anyone who's looking to buy some new golf swag.
Okay, so we're going to get into that a little bit later. But so I'm so glad you brought this up, because one of my favorite questions to ask my guests are, how did you get involved in the game and who was the most influential?
Yeah, for me, like my dad tried to get me into it when I was young, but I didn't have the patience. My ADD was probably a little too strong growing up, but I wish I got into it more as a young person, because I'd be a hell of a lot better than I am today. And then I played with my buddies in college and post-college. And then I moved out to Hawaii part-time about 5 or 6 years ago. And that's when my dad really started to get into golf. And, I lived about 5 minutes down the street from him. So that was like every week we go once or twice, sometimes 3 times a week, and we just get out there and play. And the more you play the game, the more you appreciate the game and the more you appreciate the beauty of it. So, I've been hooked ever since.
Adam, one of my favorite parts about golf, and it's unlike any other sport, is that it connects people. You run into, you and your dad are sitting at a local muni or wherever, and you're going to run in to get paired with another guy and his son. And it'll be really difficult for you guys not to be buddies by the end of the day. I don't care what you shot, and I don't care. unless there's something really unusual about their disposition, then and this game does this all over the place.
It is, I think, maybe the most beautiful part of golf, and I travel a lot, so I'm in Austin for, I've been in here for about a month or two, and I leave soon. And when I go to Austin, you go to the local community, and you get paired up with somebody. And it's funny, the amount of contacts in my phone, the people that now you get a drink with came from just getting paired up with them. And it's impossible not to have a connection. You're hanging out with these people for 3-4 hours. You're having a good time. It's lightweight. It's enjoyable. So it is probably, I think, especially for an amateur, the most beautiful part of the game. It's like, look, we all love when we have that great drive or great putt or birdie or whatever. But at the end of the day, when it's over, it's over. What really matters is the connections you develop from golf.
Adam, somebody said to me the other day, where I was trying to explain to them, in my opinion, that golf was special. He goes, yeah, it's kind of like tennis. And I was like, yeah, no, it's not really like tennis at all. Because I said, where's your favorite place you've ever played tennis? And he goes, oh, my wife and I went on this beautiful trip. And I said, the court looked just like the court at home. It's so you're talking about two really cool places to play golf, Austin, Texas, and anywhere in Hawaii. And they don't look anything alike, but they're also cool and great experiences.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, it almost reminds, like I played baseball growing up, and baseball could be a very different sport depending on the field you play on. Like maybe it's the dirt is a certain way, or the grass is trimmed a certain way, or they have a fence, or they don't have a fence, or their fence is very far, their fence is short. Same with golf, where it is a very different experience if it's dry, if it's wet, if it's hilly, what state you're playing in. Like it is a very different experience. And there's this golf course I play in Hawaii, and anyone who's visited Oahu, you've probably heard of it or wanted to play it. It's basically like the Jurassic Park course. It's Royal Hawaiian. And it is like you're almost hiking through one of the most beautiful areas in the world. And oh, by the way, you also get to play golf while you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely special. And in terms of experiences, I'm not throwing down on tennis, but I'm just saying there are some absolutely breathtaking golf courses that are world-class views. Like you said, you also get to play golf with. Adam Rosen is my guest today. He is the founder of Birdies, Bogeys, and Bourbon, and we're talking a little bit about his newsletter. So how did you get the idea for the format, Adam? Because I really love, and I think a lot of your secret sauce is not only in the format, but the writing is also very snappy, very clever, and very lighthearted.
Well, thank you. Yeah, look, in today's day and age, I don't care if you're a young 18-year-old Gen Zer or if you're, 78 years old and everything in between. We all have a tight attention span. And like you said, there's a lot of different things that are pulling at us, different newsletters, Instagram, TikTok, TV shows, you name it. Everything's trying to pull our attention away. So the approach I want to take from the start is to give interesting content that people actually want to digest, make it so it's similar every week so people know what to expect, but also not to go over the top with trying to write an essay behind everything. Try to make it short and sweet and to the point. And then if people want to read more about it, have a way for them to access more information about it, but to make it so people just, when they have a few minutes in their day and they want to have a lighthearted moment every Friday, you go check it out and hopefully you get a laugh and learn something new.
And I love the different sections as you explained it. The Birdies for maybe a little higher end golfer, the Bogeys, we can all relate to those anyway. And then the Bourbon, are you a bourbon guy? So I got to tell you, growing up, my dad was a bourbon drinker, and every once in a while my brother and I would take a little and I'd be like, this is the worst tasting stuff I've ever had. I've got 5 different bottles of it now because I absolutely love it.
Yeah, for me, I typically, so the funny thing is I created this when I was in Hawaii, but I typically don't like to drink bourbon when I'm in a warm weather climate. Like I grew up in New York, I lived in Boston for a while, and I always loved bourbon, in the cold, when it's cold outside. Typically when I'm in Hawaii, bourbon usually isn't my drink of choice on the 19th hole. But I love bourbon. I appreciate bourbon. And plus, honestly, it kind of rhymed pretty well with the Birdies and Bogeys part.
Yeah, so the alliteration was great. So, Adam, what's your background? And tell us a little bit about some of the other things that you've done, because it's all tied into it, because you've got really great, clean marketing in this newsletter as well, where it's not. I'm tired of being clubbed over the head with. I don't care if it's the greatest deal in the world. If I'm not in, if I'm tired of watching, information come to me about this pair of golf shoes, I'm out. You guys don't do that at all.
Yeah, so for me, I started my first company out of college. I had that company for about 5 years. I sold it in 2019. And then I ended up starting my main job, which is an email marketing agency, about 5 years ago. And we work with some startups. We work with companies like the UFC and some others to power their email marketing. And in 2024, I live my life primarily as like what people would consider a digital nomad, where I travel the world and I build my business. So I've been blessed to spend months and months in places like Italy or France or Montenegro, you name it, Hawaii, all over the place. And so in 2024, we stumbled across a newsletter that I bought for digital nomads. We were able to grow it pretty well and then sell it. And that's what kind of got me into the newsletter world. And then through my business, we would just build out different newsletters, whether it's for my company, I have an exotic cars newsletter, obviously Birdies, Bogeys, and Bourbon and others. But for this, it's like been a passion project of mine where I'm like, I love golf. And I feel like there's a lot missing in the content game of golf when it comes to newsletters. So that's why I started this company. But I have a good team that helps me find good deals on, shoes, golf clubs, you name it, to make sure that we can give good value to all of our readers.
Well, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, you had a couple of different deals on golf shirts that were spectacular. I mean, they were. So folks, you got to check it out, because some weeks there'll be shoes, will be the gear drop, and then the gear deal will be something else. But every once in a while, and I know it depends on what's available, but good stuff and great prices.
Yeah, there's one, I think, from our edition a week or two. I saw it in my team. I give them the credit for finding all these deals. There's like a really nice tailor-made Flex Tech carry stand bag that's $150. That's normally $260. And with a lot of that stuff too, we don't even make money on it. Like, it's just the team just finds these deals across the internet to post them. So I'm like, this is a good deal. I should buy this.
Now, so Adam, explain how the business works. So if you're traveling to all these cool places, where's your team and how is that located? And what is going to be so awesome about this description, I feel like, is I read a book a long time ago about the world is flat, meaning how well we're connected. And I'm sure this is what you're going to tell us right now.
Yeah, my main helper with the newsletter, his name is RJ. He's based in the Philippines. He's been working with me for a few years now. He's insanely talented, very smart, very hardworking, and he basically is my assistant for most of this stuff. And then we have another person that works with us too that's on his team. But RJ is helping find all these deals that honestly I wouldn't have the time to do. So even though the newsletter comes from me, I'm the one who gets the shine from it. But there are so many people that are working on this aside from just RJ and his team that help power it. Because I couldn't do it alone. So a lot of credit to the team for all the help they provide and providing a good experience for all of the readers.
Absolutely. And how about the writing? Do you do any of the writing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have editors that will help, tweak things and make me sound a little better than I would normally sound.
We all need that. Can you hang out for another segment? We're going to take a quick break and come right back.
Let's do it.
Fantastic. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We'll be right back. A golfing experience of a lifetime. Custom golf trips with me, Jay Delsing. I've played on the PGA Tour for over 25 years and had the pleasure of playing the greatest courses in America, and now you can too. Experience courses like Pebble Beach, Winged Foot, Whistling Straits, and many more. Packages include meals, drinks, daily lessons, and tips from me, and much, much more. Book your experience now and email me, jay@jdelsinggolf.com. The golf course is waiting. Welcome back to Golf with Jay Delsing. I'm your host, Jay. I'm sitting down today with the founder of Birdies, Bogeys, and Bourbon, and his name is Adam Rosen, and we are talking about his newsletter. Folks, you've got to check out this newsletter. Adam, what's the best, easiest way for people to find out and to subscribe to the newsletter?
Yeah, if you just go to Birdies, Bogeys, and Bourbon.beehive.com, and we can put a link in the show notes here. Just you can check out our website, and then you can subscribe and get the content delivered. We do editions every Friday. Sometimes we'll do 2 a week, but every Friday you can count on us to have an edition in your inbox.
Yeah, there's no cost, but the information is fantastic. I loved your article that you guys wrote about Cameron Young and him winning the Players Championship, and you included his family. You know, that was a crazy tournament, because last week I had Joey Scavron on. He is Ludwig Oberg's caddy. And, you know, these guys are coming down the back nine, 8 holes left, 2-shot lead, and then the bottom falls out of it. And now we're like, wait a second, now who's going to win? Fitzpatrick's making birdies. Cameron Young is kind of laying in the weeds. But the drive that Cameron Young hit on 18 was one of the greatest shots I've ever seen of all time. And the way you guys described it with the family, how did you get that? Was that just something that was in your heart from watching, or how'd that come about?
Yeah, it's from watching, and then it's doing the research too. And like, how cool is that to be able to have an incredible win like that in front of your family? Like we talked about earlier, the real beauty of golf, I think, is the connection, whether it's with random strangers you get paired up with or your family. And I think it's cool too. Like, I mean, I'm sure you see it all the time. You go out there to golf, and maybe your wife comes, and you know, your child comes, and they're on the cart together, and they're just watching you play for a couple hours. And golf is not just an individual sport, even though it is an individual sport. There's so many people around you, especially when you get to a level, obviously, like Cameron Young, to be able to get there. That is a true family win. And for everyone to be able to witness that in person is pretty special.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Adam, because when we played, you know, we never talked about team. I mean, we had wives and family, lots of support, but man, what the kids and the players use today between, you know, they've all got physio guys that are helping them with their fitness. We got golf-specific exercises. And I wonder what you think about this, because I feel like the success and the coolness of your newsletter is still an offshoot of the Tiger Woods effect in the game, because he just brought so many more eyeballs, so much more interest. I hate what's going on right now. I don't know enough about any of the stuff in Jupiter. I hate it. But he's done so much for all of us and just made us more opportunities, more ways to make money. It's crazy.
Yeah, there are very few true generational talents in anything. Golf, you know, sports in general, business, you name it. But there are certain people that, number one, change the game, and number two, attract people to the game. And in my life, there's people like Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, you know, Tom Brady, you could argue, is in that class too, for people that really evolve the game and then also bring so many people into the game. Like I remember growing up, like I wasn't a huge golf fan, but I loved Tiger Woods, and everybody knew Tiger Woods. Everybody wanted the cool red Nike polo that they could wear. Like Tiger Woods brought even the casuals to the game. And I think it's important because you want to expand the game. You want to have more people that can appreciate and learn the game. And you do need people like a Tiger Woods to attract people. And then it's your job. Like one of my best learnings as I got into golf was I have to learn golf etiquette and truly understand and appreciate golf. And one of the things I love most about golf is it is such a game based on integrity. And it's like, it is you and I. And if you want to say you got a par instead of a double bogey, it's like, you can put that down and what's somebody going to do? But it really does challenge, I think, as humans, your integrity and your moral compass in a really interesting way that most sports don't do. So I have always found that to be a really cool part of the game.
Adam, I couldn't agree with you more. When most people realize that we don't have, you know, a referee with every group and everything isn't under intense scrutiny, because if you screw something up yourself, it's like you've got to live with it. And man, as a young player, I learned the hard way where there was some rule situation and I kind of fell between the cracks and I wasn't exactly sure. And then I came to find out later that I probably should have called an official and at least, and it just bugged me for the rest of the tournament. And, you know, you can't play this game when you have that in your head. You know what I mean? It just eats you up. It drives you crazy.
Exactly. And I keep learning more rules too. Like when I play with better golfers, with professional golfers, I'm always learning new rules and learning how the game is played. And it's cool. Like, I mean, it's so normal for someone like you, Jay. Like you're out there and you're just pinpointing it and you're a pro. But for people like me, when I get to play with people like you, Jay, my mind is blown. It's like, it's just, you're like a painter that just, everything is so meticulous. And it's really fun for amateurs like myself to play with real golfers like you, because what you guys can do with that club, it truly is mind blowing.
Sometimes it's a finger paint. It gets a little messy, you know, where you sit there. But I think one of the beauties, and thank you for the kind words, one of the beauties of the game is that you can whack this thing all over the place and make a nice 20-foot putt. And there's the same score is, you know, a guy that's in the fairway on the green and lifts something out for birdie. Joe Scavron was talking about how difficult it is to win on tour, Adam. And he was Saturday morning's first 9 holes with Ludwig was real scratchy. They didn't hit many fairways. And I don't know if you played the TPC in Jacksonville, but it's a beast, man. There's water everywhere. And they got off that 9 holes at even par. And Joe said to him, that's how you win on the PGA Tour, because that could have been a 40, and you don't win on the PGA Tour without 40. So there's so many other ways to do it and so many different ways to learn about it. And then when you watch something like what we were talking about with Cameron Young, where you're like, everybody is hitting it right because the water's left, and he stands up there and tells his caddy, watch this, I'm going to hit the greatest shot I've ever hit in my life. And I'm thinking, dear God, I hope this works out. And it couldn't have been better. And he almost hit it 400 yards.
Yeah, it's people don't appreciate how much of a mental game. I mean, look, all sports are. I don't care what the sport is, but golf more than any other, because it just, for me, always played sports where, you know, basketball, baseball, football, like those types of sports, the ball is moving. The nice thing about it, though, it's harder to get in your head because you're just going off of your instinct. In golf, you are getting over that ball and you have all the time in the world to just think about everything. What if I shank it? What if I put in the water? What if I don't hit it perfect? You know, what about last hole where I messed up? It is such a golf that tests your mental fortitude, where it's for any young person. It should almost be mandatory because it tests your patience. Where how do you not let your last shot affect your next shot? And that's not just for golf, that's for life. How do you let, in business, don't let a bad meeting you just had affect your next good meeting. Don't let, you know, maybe a fight you just had with your wife affect your dinner that you're going to have with her when she gets home later. Like, don't let the past affect your future. And I think golf is the greatest, in terms of sports, the greatest teacher when it comes to that.
Oh my gosh, Adam, I couldn't agree with you more. The life lessons, the parallels. Adam Rosen is my guest. He's the founder of one of the coolest newsletters, the golf newsletter for sure. It's called Birdies, Bogeys, and Bourbon. Adam, do you have a favorite course? I mean, dude, you traveled all over the world. You get to see, I mean, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Is there any place that sticks out in your mind that you want to tell people about?
I feel like I have to, I love the courses in Hawaii, and that's where I spend most of my time golfing. So I feel like I have to shout out my Hawaii courses the most. The number one course I play at it's Oahu Country Club. It's where my dad's a member, so I've been blessed to play there a lot. I think Ko'olina is a very cool golf course in Oahu too. Clipper is a really beautiful golf course in Hawaii. So those are some of my 3 favorites when it comes to Hawaii. Royal Hawaiian I mentioned earlier too. That's more of an experience. You don't worry too much about your score there. You just really soak it all in. So when it comes to Hawaii, those are probably my top. What would you say yours is, Jay?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that it's springtime back here in the Midwest, because if you're talking Hawaii and we're getting snow, people are going to be pissed at you for that. So where we got some sunshine. If I only had to play one more round, it would probably be Pebble Beach. Pebble, because there's so much history. When the first time I played it, I'm like, what this is, storied ground. Jack Nicklaus and the U.S. Open out there, Tom Watson. It's pretty special. But I got to tell you, Adam, my life has been just filled with these pinch me moments, where I grew up as a caddy and I'm walking into these places and I got people carrying my luggage for me and taking me into these beautiful locker rooms where, my name's on my locker and I'm sitting in here with the greatest, the best players. It's just a dream come true. I was like, just let me keep doing this and don't wake me up.
Yeah, that's how I feel when, we list out a golf course, like a course of the week, we call it. And one of my goals is like, I want to find the time where I could just do a tour of all these golf courses. Cause I see them and I haven't played at most of these even. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is in Houston. This is a golf. I didn't know this. And you start looking into the course. And what you realize, to your point earlier, Jay, is like, there are so many beautiful courses all over the world. And not even just the States. You leave the US and you get even more beautiful courses, of course. Like there's all over the world, there are so many beautiful courses. So I'm hoping that, maybe when I retire at some point, I just want to bob around and do a tour where I check out a different course every week.
Dude, you probably have 3 or 4 more businesses up your sleeve before you retire. But Adam, I really appreciate you taking the time. Tell our listeners again and our viewers how they can subscribe to the newsletter. And I'm at JayDelsingGolf.com. I'm a huge fan. I will haunt this newsletter and let you know what it's about because it's super, super cool.
Thank you. Yeah, if you go to birdies-bogeys-and-bourbon.beehive.com, that'll give you the chance to go to the website and subscribe. We'll also create an easier link for the future so that it's not quite so long, but we'll put a link, I'm sure, in the show notes for this. And if you want to shoot me an email, just email me at aloha@adamirosen.com. And I'd love to talk golf. And if anyone does have any stories, we always like to feature a subscriber story. So any fun golf stories, you share them with me and we'll make sure to put it in the newsletter.
Great. Thanks so much for your time. I appreciate how gracious you've been and keep doing it because it's the first publication I can't wait to read each week.
I appreciate you saying that, Jay. Thank you.
This is Jay Delsing, author of the new golf book, You Wouldn't Believe Me If I Told You. It's an unforgettable memoir of golf, grit, and a blue-collar kid on the PGA Tour. Get yours at JayDelsingGolf.com. That's JayDelsingGolf.com.